Hello and welcome. This is a recorded presentation for the online International Doctoral Research Conference in Education run by the Centre for Research in Education at Liverpool John Moores University in the United Kingdom. My name is Lynn Jones. I am a primary teacher and I am currently doing a professional doctorate, an Ed.D, at the University of Strathclyde in Glasgow, Scotland. After 2 years of taught modules, this year I embarked on the research phase of my studies, and in April I was granted ethical approval for my thesis, which is a qualitative, multi-method, phenomenological study into how teacher leadership is understood and experienced in Scotland. This presentation is entitled Going Mobile, Mediating Participant Interviews Through Creative and Collaborative Methods. In the next 15 minutes or so, we will consider the first two of the bullet points you see on the screen, with the third as an option if you want to continue the conversation afterwards. Firstly then, I will share my current understanding of the affordances and constraints of mobile methods drawing on the literature. Secondly, I will explain the theoretical and practical elements of my data collection strategy. And finally, I will very briefly recap the various ways that you can interact with me on the subject of mobile methods. Mobile methods, also known as go-alongs, are concerned with the interaction of people with places and spaces. In go-alongs, participants and researchers go along or move together through a particular place as they talk about and experience that very environment. Mobile methods are commonly used in research which explores, to quote go-along pioneer Margareta Kuzenbach, environmental perception, spatial practices, biographies, social architecture, and social realms. These have often been issues related to health, sociology, geography, and the local environment. Though mobile methods are not yet widely used in our field, in 2012, Kuzenbach suggested that mobile methods were highly suitable for use in educational research. That said, Castrodale and others warn that there are important exclusionary concerns, including those related to disability and mental health, for researchers to bear in mind when planning to use mobile methods. Why complicate things? Why not stick with the traditional style of semi-structured interviews? These were questions posed by an Ed.D friend when she heard of my plans for multiple phases of data collection that integrated several different creative approaches, including mobile methods. It would be fair to say that it took me quite some time to decide in favour of using mobile methods in the third and final phase of my data collection. From my reading to date, I have identified the following affordances and constraints. On the plus side, mobile methods are experiential. In other words, the go-along is experienced by the participant and researcher together in a particular place at a particular time. A shared experience which aims to encourage recollection and generate understandings is likely in turn to foster empathy between the participant and researcher. Mobile methods are participatory. They are done with and not done to participants. Each go-along or tour is planned and led by the participant through an environment of their choice and at a time of their choosing. In this way, the power dynamic between researcher and participant is minimised. The participant has ownership over where and when the data is collected, as well as exactly what will be shown and shared. The participants' interpretations of the spaces and places are privileged, and the role of the researcher is to collect and analyse information within and across data sets. According to Block et al. 2017, there are clear correlations between what people talk about and the places they are in when they find themselves doing the talking. While sedentary face-to-face interviews tend to elicit plenty of personal information, mobile interviews tend to focus on the broader community and environment that the interview is in and their relationship to them. Mobile methods are inherently flexible. As such, they reflect the complexity and messiness of real life. The go-along style of mobile interview allows researchers to observe participants' behaviours and practices in situ, and to notice any contradictions that might arise between the words spoken in the interview and the actions and choices made during the interview. They can be carried out on foot, on any form of transport, and even virtually. It is not unusual to combine mobile methods with other creative methods to enhance the spoken interview data, thereby resulting in a more complete research process. Mobile methods can make very effective use of technologies. The capacity of mobile phones and tablets these days is such that devices can take and store photographs, audio recordings, GPS information, and are easily portable. As such, mobile interview data can be enhanced by other varied, often visual data. And arguably, this data may be more interesting or enticing to an audience when it comes to the dissemination of research findings and recommendations. As for the limitations of mobile methods, mobility itself can pose challenges, excluding outright those participants or potential participants who have mobility issues and visible or invisible disabilities. Also, the focus on the active and dynamic elements inherent in movement, mobile methods risk missing the quiescent, intangible and fleeting aspects of movement through an environment. Accessibility can certainly be an issue. For example, the terrain of a route chosen by a participant may be a challenge to the researcher, while even temporary changes to the chosen route, for example, diversions or potholes, may present unexpected accessibility issues to both participant and researcher. Disruptions can occur during mobile interviews. Background ambient noise, changes in weather, unexpectedly bumping into acquaintances. These are just a few examples of the mundane interruptions to mobile interviews. More importantly, there is a not insignificant burden of labour and preparation associated with participant-led mobile interviews. And this may impact participant retention and thereby disrupt the research. Confidentiality can also be a legitimate concern. A participant may be resistant to mobile interviews due to the heightened visibility that comes with it. As they move through an environment where they are known, with an unfamiliar person who may be drawing attention to themselves by taking notes, photographs, or making recordings as they move. Compared to the traditional face-to-face interview, mobile interviews are largely unfamiliar to many participants or potential participants, and they may be seen as unproven, and this may put off potential participants too. A list of the key literature that informs my understanding of the pros and cons of mobile methods is included towards the end of this presentation. I am committed to using mobile methods because there are practical measures that can be taken to mitigate the aforementioned constraints. Four recommendations drawn from the literature are: 1. Take the time and effort to build respectful and trusting relationships with each and every participant who gives their consent. 2. Offer well thought out alternative data collection tools which have comparable affordances to the go-along style of mobile interview and that will yield data to address your research questions. Pilot each instrument, including the specific technology you wish to use, on the move and in different acoustic spaces. 3. Participant and researcher to establish shared understandings of the purpose and intended outcomes of this phase of the study. Together, draft a protocol including clear expectations about how to handle possible disruptions. Each protocol will be personalised to take account of individual preferences, and it should be treated as a working document, stored securely but revisited and updated as necessary at different points in the process. Number 4, be open to disruption and open-minded in your analysis of the disruptive episode itself and the data the episode yields. Above all, think critically and act ethically. In addition to the affordances and constraints outlined previously, there are 2 other important reasons why I favour mediating semi-structured interviews with mobile methods. Firstly, I am a beginner researcher, and as such, I am developing my research skills. Mediation scaffolds my interview questioning technique. Secondly, I am an introvert, and I don't find it easy to engage in conversation with people I don't know very well. So for both of these reasons, doing interviews as I walk alongside participants seems less formal and preferable to sitting face to face and asking questions. Mobile methods are a way for participants to show as much as tell their experiences, and with the stimulus of the environment round about, with maps and taking photographs during the tour, means that there is less pressure to fill silences during a mobile interview. There is more time to formulate questions and comments, which is in contrast to traditional face-to-face interview situations. In short, mediating semi-structured interviews with mobile and visual methods makes me feel more comfortable and gives me confidence in my ability to collect meaningful data that will address my research questions. With all of this in mind, mobile methods are planned to be part of the 3rd and final phase of my data collection, scheduled to take place in spring 2021. This slide is a summary of those plans. Each participant and I will agree a protocol to establish shared understandings and expectations of the mobile interview process we undertake together. The only non-negotiable will be an agreement that photographs taken during the tour are not to include other people. This measure should mitigate the capture of pupils and other non-research participants in any photographs taken during the mobile interview on or near school premises. Issues of audience, ownership, use and future dissemination of the visual data will also be agreed at this point. If a particular place or space is busy during the tour and people do not disperse before we need to move on, then no photograph will be taken. Instead, I will make a quick sketch and I'll take a sequential list of all the locations that are or would ideally have been photographed during the tour, so that all the places and spaces highlighted on the tour can be revisited in sequence during the summary part at the end. Participants will be asked to plan and lead a tour of places and spaces that relate to their experiences of being or becoming a teacher leader. They will schedule it for a date and time of their choosing, and depending on their preference, the tour could be undertaken in any of the following 3 formats. 1. A mobile interview on foot or by transport and supplemented by participant or researcher taken photographs, digital photographs en route. These photographs will be used as aide-memoire when it comes to summarising the key aspects afterwards. And in light of COVID-19, it will be essential to take account of social distancing measures. 2. A sedentary, face-to-face, semi-structured interview mediated by virtual map, such as Google Street Maps, or a virtual tour of a particular building where one exists. 3. A sedentary face-to-face semi-structured interview mediated by a published paper map or one created by the participant themselves. If necessary, depending on COVID regulations, both of these sedentary options could be carried out via a secure teleconferencing platform which allows participants to share their images, documents, and computer screens. At the end of the interview, the participant and I will review any photographs that have been taken, and we will also revisit a mind map that we originally co-created at the end of the Phase 2 interviews. The key points raised during the mobile interviews in Phase 3 will be clarified, summarised, and added to that mind map. This co-created artifact is an initial validation of each phase of interview data. If audio recording was agreed in the protocol, participants will be asked to validate the transcript of their Phase 3 interview data. In the event of poor sound quality of the audio, the photographs and updated mind map will go some way to capturing the immediacy of the experience. And so, to my EdD friend who was concerned that I was needlessly complicating the interview process by using mobile methods, I would argue that the opportunities to experience and understand how teacher leaders interact in and with their environment outweigh the ethical, epistemological, and practical challenges. Here is a list of the key readings that have shaped my understanding of mobile research methods to date. You can press pause if you need to note down any of these. And if you know of any others that you think would enhance or challenge my thinking, please let me know. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts about the presentations and any suggestions you might have on how I might further develop my approach to data gathering. Also, please share your own experiences and advice on using any creative research methods. You can comment below this video. You can reach me on Twitter at Lynn Jones, where the O, what looks like an O, is actually a 0. And as well as the conference hashtag, if you have enough characters left, you could also use the creative methods hashtag, #CRMethods. I am keen to connect with other doctoral researchers using creative methods in their work, so please feel free to get in touch with me directly by email. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Enjoy the rest of your conference.